So, hi. Today I'm gonna make something that reminds me of home. It may not be the fanciest meal, but it's my feel-good meal, and I'm feeling a little homesick. I want my mom, and FaceTime isn't good enough. So my mom makes the best green chili stew, and I'm gonna do a version of it because I don't have all the ingredients, but I am going to start by having some sangria. I had a little bit of leftover wine, and I know, which is crazy, but it wasn't really enough to have like a full glass. So I put that in here, and then I added some tangerine juice and some of my kids' leftover sliced apples from breakfast, a couple squeezes of oranges and orange slices, and some brandy. I'm gonna top it off with a little bit of raspberry White Claw, just to give it a little bubbly and a little bit more alcohol. Here's a little chopstick to mix it up with. And I'm gonna pour it in a glass over ice. Keep the fruit marinating for a little bit longer. See how it tastes. That is so good. Now I feel like I'm on a vacation. So I have some poblanos here. When they're dried, they're pastillas, but sometimes they're actually labeled pastillas at the market. But sometimes you can get them and they're hot, but they're not super hot chili. They are very tasty though. I happen to love them. So you're gonna start by charring these, and then you're gonna put them in a bag and let them sweat in there, and then you can pull the skin right off. I don't like to rinse them after I do that, so I make sure you wash them before, because I like the smokiness left on them, so I don't want to wash that off. So to char them, I'm just going to throw them right on the burner. So just let them blister, let them get black. Don't worry about it. So you just put the charred chili right in a plastic bag. I added a couple of jalapenos in there too. Fill up the bag. Just let it sit. It doesn't really matter. It's gonna sweat. And, you're gonna be able to peel it off whenever you get around to it. So it's fine if they cool down. Now we are going to cube our meat. Get that started. So I have some pork cushion meat here, which is part of the shoulder. And I'm gonna clean it up a little bit and cube it. I don't throw anything away, so I'll use everything for other stuff, even if it's just to boil up and give to my pets. So we're just gonna cube this up. My mom makes this with ground turkey a lot, and it's so good. My mom, and I've had some food for some amazing chefs, but my mom is the best cook in the world, and if you've had her food, then you know that to be a fact. I would rather eat my mom's cooking than anywhere else in the world. So, she also uses hatch chilies, which happen to be my favorite chili and top 5 favorite foods, period. I just love them so much. They're really hard to get outside of Hatch, New Mexico, but once a year you can sometimes find them in the stores here. And when I do, I go crazy. I buy tons and I freeze them. But then I use them in everything. Because they just make everything taste better. So I don't have any right now frozen. I'm gonna cube this up. I think you get the idea. You can also use chicken, you can use ground beef. It's gonna change the flavor, but it's all good. Anything goes with green chilies in my opinion. So let me finish cubing this up. Okay, so I've let the chili sweat in the bag, and now you're just gonna rub the skin off. See, it comes off pretty easily. I do love poblanos. I use them to make chile rellenos, which are one of my favorite dishes. Okay, and then I just pull off the tops. Scrape. So for those of you that always say, oh, how are you doing this with your kids? I don't know if you just heard my kid screaming bloody murder out there, so let me try this again. So scrape off charred skin. A few seeds are okay, but for the most part, you want to get them out. If you're super sensitive, you might want to wear gloves. These aren't that hot. Sometimes you'll get a hot one, but you can usually smell it. And these are okay. And then I would wear gloves. I'm just putting them in here because you're gonna puree them. Jalapenos, I'm just gonna take off the stem and throw them in. Okay, washed up. Okay, so I washed up. I have the poblanos and the jalapenos in here. I'm just gonna set those aside. I'm gonna take the bag that I used to sweat them, and I'm just gonna reuse it. So I'm gonna add the meat to this bag. Oh, mother. I mean, yikes. Just trying not to touch it. Okay, and to this bag, I am going to add some flour. Just to coat it. You don't have to do this if you're gonna cook in a crock pot. I mean, I would still sear your meat if you can, but if it's like obviously ground turkey or ground beef or chicken, you're definitely not gonna be doing this. So it's an optional. Now I'm gonna sear this off in the pan, and you're gonna just take out your meat, give it a little tap, and stick it in your pan. I'm just gonna dump all of this in. It will overcrowd, you won't get brown pieces. And did I say pan? I meant pot, or like a Dutch oven is best. But if you're just gonna sear it and put it in a crock pot, then a pan is fine. All right, we're gonna start there. We'll add more sweet. While this is searing, I'm gonna give a little sprinkle of salt. Season as you go. This is delicious. It goes down really easy. A little bit more in there. This is my job, so I can drink on the job. Oh, check that out. It's got a pretty decent sear on it, so I'm going to turn it over. You're not looking to cook it all the way through, it doesn't matter. We just want to get a little crust on it and we'll be delicious. I don't know if you can hear me because it's very loud. So flip those pieces over. I'm going to remove those. Start anew. So, adding in more pieces of dredged and floured pork. A lot of people ask me, do I keep kosher because I'm Jewish? Nope. I'm gonna wash off my hands like this is serious. So I just washed my hands. I'm gonna again sprinkle some salt, season as you go. I'm gonna do this until they're all finished being seared, and then we'll move on. Just want to show you what a perfect sear that is. You see how it's nice and crusty? Really good. Okay, I just finished searing all the meat. My cutting board has been cleaned and sanitized again because I did use it for meat, and then also when I was putting the meat into the bag, it fell out, so I washed everything again. I'm going to dice up an onion. Right. And to my cup with the poblanos, I'm going to add a bunch of cilantro. I'm going to add, I don't know, a third of that diced onion. Okay. You can squeeze a lemon here too. I'm going to do that. Catch the seeds. And I'm going to pulse this up. All right, I'm gonna season it with a little salt. Add some white pepper, a little bit of ground oregano, and some cumin. Okay, we're gonna turn to low, cover it, and we're gonna let it cook for a few hours. So to go with the Chile Verde or green chili stew, I am going to make sopapillas. So it's a really big treat. when you go to New Mexico, they have them on the table, and you know, you drizzle them with honey. Some people do powdered sugar and cinnamon. I like to eat them with the green chili. It's open them up, pour a little chili. It's so good. To make the sopapillas, I've got 4 cups of flour in here. I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Okay, and I don't know, maybe about a teaspoon of salt. And then you're going to cut in 4 tablespoons of vegetable shortening. Okay, so I'm going to pop it all in there. If you don't have pastry cutter, just use a knife. Same thing. Breaking that shortening up into little bitty pieces. And then you're going to add about 1.5 cups of warm water. Start there, and we'll add more. Go ahead and mix it with your hands. It's going to be, as you can see, you need this to come together, so I need a little bit more water. You want it to be warm. When you're making a pie crust, you go with cold, ice cold everything, but this is not pie crust. Okay, so you'll see it's coming together. Okay, you're gonna want to knead this for a couple minutes. So you pick it up and you push it down. Okay, pick it up, push it down. So it's not the same as a baked bread where there's a certain amount of kneading that you need to do to get a nice crumb. You can over knead a bread or under knead a bread, but this isn't as big of a deal. You just want to make sure everything is nicely incorporated, smoothed out a little bit. This doesn't have any yeast in it. It has baking powder, so it's not going to rise, but you are going to let it rest before you roll it out. Okay, it's got a nice little dough ball here, not sticky all over anymore. Okay, so we're going to put it back in here. We're going to cover it, just put a little plastic wrap over it, or cover it with a towel just to keep it from drying out, and let it rest for 20 minutes, half hour. Not refrigerated. You want it to stay a little bit warm. Okay. Okay, so we're going to roll out our dough. It's a pretty easy dough to roll out. This was cleaned, not with chemicals. Before I did that, because you don't want to get chemicals on your sopapillas. Okay, right now my oil is heating up. Now you can use a cutter, like a biscuit cutter, a cookie cutter, or a knife, and just cut them up into squares or triangles. Doesn't really matter. I'm gonna do a pretty fluted edge, but you waste less with cutting them into squares or triangles. Okay. When your oil's hot, you just drop them in.